So let's try to understand how we can prevent an effect from being fired too often. Sometimes you might want to call a function from inside an effect like this. So here we have this use effect, and here we are trying to call a function like this, okay, like this. And so whenever we try to do this, is how we can prevent the effect from being fired too often, right? So here we are talking about the use effect. Sometimes you might want to call a function from inside the effect, as we are trying to calling this function from here. This creates a problem. Every reactive values must be declared as a dependency of the effect. However, if you declare that create options as a dependency, it will cause your use effect to constantly reconnect to the chat room. Okay, so such cases can't be handled in use effect, because if we are going to give this connection function as its dependencies, connection object as its dependency, because it is a function, it is not gonna works the same way, because every time your component re-renders, it will act as a new function or a new object, and this use effect block will re-render. Okay, and this causes that problem, right? So to solve this, you can wrap the function you need to call from that use effect into that use callback. So firstly, that function that you want to consume, that you want to call inside your use effect, you should first create a use callback, right, around this function. So as you can see here, we are specifying the room ID, that every time that room ID has changed, it will create a function. It will call this use function, this use callback, and this use callback will create a function and memorize that function itself in a variable that is create option. Okay, and now you can use this create option as in dependencies to this use effect, and now it will not gonna re-render again and again, just in the same way as functions behaves, right? So that's how you can avoid this re-rendering part when you are trying to use a function into your use effect. This ensure that create options function is the same between the re-rendering if that room ID is the same. However, it is even better to remove the need of the function dependencies and move your component inside the effect, right? So even though we can do this, like we can directly remove this dependencies that we had mentioning in that use effect, and only changes in the room ID will causes this function to be re-rendered, right? So as we can write here like this, whenever there is a change in that room ID, it will create this connection. It will return this function. So here we had created this function, and we are using this create option function like this, like this. So no need to use callback for that function dependencies, because we had created this function inside because we had created this function. So there is no need to use that use callback, because here we had created this function inside of our use effect, right? So we can also do this, and in the same way we can directly write this room ID here, and we can define our function here and directly consume this function here, right? So that is the another way we can use this use callback. We can avoid the use of use callback and instead do the same thing, instead call our function just by using use effect, and it will not cause any issue. So ensure that create option function is the same between the re-renders if the room ID is the same. However, it is even better to remove the need of the function dependencies. Move your function inside the use effect, inside the effect, right? So now your code is simpler and does not need that use callback. Learn more about that removing effect dependencies here. Definitely we are going to check out this, right? But let's first complete this section, and as Once we had done that, we will move to the other sections.